Hey guys, Storyhawk here again, thanks for stopping by. Reading some more revenge stories. It's quickly becoming a favourite of mine, this subreddit. So I hope you enjoy them too, and yeah, enjoy. Cheat on me? I'll get your child support raised and your car repoed. First, the child support. So, I was with my ex-husband for about 10 years. When I first met him, he knocked up his previous GF before meeting me. Basically kinda ghosted her. Now, reflecting back on what happened, convinced me it was her keeping him away from his kid and that he was just the poor victim in all of it. She had taken him to court, got child support for $324 a month for a while, then tried to take him back to get it increased because she thought he was working and making more, but it backfired and it got reduced to $112 a month. It stayed like that for about 6 to 7 years, and he actually got behind a couple of times just paying this. Come 2018, I decided to leave him because he wasn't putting in the effort to find a job that would support both of us while I went to nursing school. I'd been working full time and doing school part time, our entire relationship supporting us while he went to school for medical billing and coding and didn't do anything with it once he was done. His excuse? They're outsourcing these jobs to India. He bounced from one job to another for one reason or another. Once it came time for me to actually finally apply, I told him he needed to finally step up. He told me he would, but never said what he was doing. He would come home from work and complain about the work and the people he worked with. He was eventually fired from that job because his boss said he worked way too slow and he was delaying orders going out for the company. We also had a bit of a dead bedroom, so that also pushed me to want to leave him. I finally decided to leave, and he moved in a mutual friend of ours a couple months later, who we had lived with previously because she found out her husband had cheated on her. Why is this important? Because 4 months after I left, I found emails with nudes of her that he was forwarding to a secret email account I had no clue about. They'd been a lot more friendly than I'd realised for over 4 years. She'd also remarried and was currently married while living separate from her husband because my ex didn't like him in the house. Granted, I didn't like him either because he was a sleazebag who was also cheating, but I digress. He even got friendly with his ex-wife and someone else I didn't recognise. Then found out he knocked her up 2 months after being official. I didn't get to confront him with this other than me writing an email and attaching photos I now had. I had to do something else. So I reached out to his ex-girlfriend. He's made no effort to be in his kid's life, and I've tried a few times over the years of reaching out to her and establishing a relationship between them. My mum has a bigger relationship with a kid she has no relation to than my piece of shit ex. I told her I left him, that he was making way more money at his job and she should file to have it looked at. She did, and got it increased to $264 a month. Now, for the repo of the car. After I left, he decided to buy a brand new Chevy Equinox for over $32,000. I have access to his Credit Karma account, so that's how I know. He works commission-based sales selling furniture, TVs and appliances. He doesn't bring home much. He actually opened a credit card through his work, bought $5,000 worth of stuff to furnish the house, then let it go to collections. He used my contact info and they called me trying to collect on it. The payments on that new car was about $634 a month. He made 2 payments, then stopped. Now we had bought a house together before I left, and he finally agreed to sell our marital home after getting behind on the payments and not doing what he needed to keep it. We had over 60% equity in the house. He decided to use his half of the sale to buy a smaller house outright instead of paying off his debt. His logic has always been if I don't have a house payment, the other bills are affordable. Part of the reasoning he used to bully me into buying our previous house, either way. I found out his new address, called the company that originated the loan and updated them with his current information. So hopefully they'll be picking up their car any day now. When trying to get your deposit back from your landlord is like drawing blood from a stone. Holy crap, this was much longer than I expected after typing it out, so I've tried to shorten it as much as possible, but here it goes. Back in 2018, I had a temporary internship in California at insert large tech company here, so I took a recommendation from a friend about a room for rent. It would be living with 5 other people, but otherwise it looked fantastic, with spacious common areas, multiple huge TVs, full amenities, community rec centre with pool, short drive times to multiple places of interest, all for $650 a month, utilities included. I contacted the landlord, whom I will refer to as Shitty Landlord. He seemed fine on the phone, so I sent him my security deposit to move in a month later. When it came time to move in, I discovered a few caveats that came with this low rent price. The common areas were all dusty, none of the 3 large TVs worked properly, and if we wanted access to the rec centre and pool, we'd need to pay the $80 a month membership fee. And all of the short drives, time estimates were exaggerated, unless you were speeding at 2 times the speed limit. Whatever, it's not the end of the world, especially at the relatively low price. I'll survive. But then it got worse. In the coming months, Shitty Landlord decided to charge us an extra $20 a month for paper towels and public cleaning supplies. Shitty Landlord only checked the community mailbox once a week when he was in town, and refused to trust anybody with a mailbox key. As it starts to roll into the summer, in June, Shitty Landlord decides that air conditioning costs too much, and we were using too much, so he removed the thermostat from the wall. Okay? One day, some of us tenants confronted him when he was at the house, since Shitty Landlord also slept at the house about 1 day a week, and I'll never forget his words as he rushed out of the house. "It's legal for me to do it, and I don't care since I don't have to live here." Well, sir, fuck you. I'm tilted as fuck at this guy's obvious money grab from 6 tenants. Well, it turns out he's right. He legally doesn't need to provide air conditioning. So the next day I purchased a high BTU freestanding portable air conditioner that exhausts out the window. Holy shit, this thing was luxury. Of course I pumped my room to 65 degrees Fahrenheit, the lowest setting. We have a couple other minor disagreements that wind up with Shitty Landlord texting me that it's fine if I wanted to break my lease and move out early. Perfect. When Shitty Landlord finally gets a whiff of my AC setup, he comes to my room to complain about my AC unit. I reply curtly, "It's legal for me to do it, and I don't care since I don't have to pay for electricity." He leaves and later sends me a text. Yeah, okay. Unbeknownst to Shitty Landlord, I'm taking his move-out offer seriously, and this whole time, I've been rallying the troops. All the tenants have been upset about everyone's living situation, so with some minor encouragement, I managed to convince 2 of the other 6 tenants to move out at the same time as me. They were on a month-to-month arrangement. I finally submit all our notices of intent to vacate at the same time, barely a week after my previous conversation with Shitty Landlord. He's pissed. He was just trying to get me out of the house, but now he has 3 rooms to fill instead of just 1. I ask about my legally mandated pre-move-out inspection. In no uncertain terms, he told me to go fuck myself. He said he's too busy to perform an inspection. Well, that's illegal, but okay. Time comes to move out. I found another room for rent much closer to the office for only $100 a month more. We all move out and I text Shitty Landlord about my security deposit. No response. I text again. No response. Okay, I see where this is going. I spent days and days reading the law, compiling evidence and screenshots, and listing the laws that were broken. The smoking gun was the statute that requires a pre-move-out inspection and a list of things to fix, an itemised list of deductions within 21 days, or else Shitty Landlord loses the right to withhold any of my deposit. In addition, he would be subject to treble damages if he's found to be acting in bad faith. I text again and again. I give him plenty of leniency and I even cite the laws so I can prove in court that I'm acting in good faith, and Shitty Landlord intentionally ignored the laws that I made him aware about. Shitty Landlord probably thinks I'm a young pushover college student who won't follow through with legal threats. Well, sir, we're going to court because I'm petty as fuck when it comes to people trying to fuck me over. I file in small claims for $650 plus treble damages, plus court costs. Shitty Landlord files a counterclaim of $2,000 for damages to the property, claiming I caused flooding and I broke the microwave. Okay, buddy. In response, I gather testimonies from 3 of the other tenants, and I build my case into a 40-page packet of evidence, complete with page numbers, a table of contents, and descriptions for every screenshot and photo. I make 3 copies of everything and submit it to the court and the defendant, Shitty Landlord. The court date is set for November, and I leave the state just before Christmas, so just in time to appear in person since my internship ends and I fly home in December. He starts filing requests to postpone the trial. He cites a doctor's appointment and the motion is granted. Court date is rescheduled for a month later, in December, but still before I fly home. New court date approaches and he files another request to postpone, citing another doctor's appointment. Somehow that motion is granted as well and we're rescheduled yet again to January. Darn. January rolls around and surprise surprise, guess who's got another doctor's appointment conveniently on the same exact day of the trial? Denied. The court finally got sick of his bullshit and denied the motion because he can't prove he scheduled the doctor's appointment prior to the court date being moved. Welp, I'm not in California anymore, I'm across the country on the East Coast. Shitty landlord thinks if I'm no longer in the state, he'll automatically win since I'm not willing to fly back to California. Well, unbeknownst to shitty landlord, California courts offer an option to appear by telephone. Ha ha. Court day comes and I get the call. I'm sworn in and then connected to court. I'm given time to present my case. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare a script, so I kind of summarised the events and explained why I deserved money. Then shitty landlord gets time to defend himself and explain his counterclaim. He doesn't prepare anything either, and he ends up just rambling about random shit that doesn't help his case at all. For example, he spends a lot of time explaining how another one of the tenants was shitty and so his behaviour was justified. He doesn't even have a sliver of evidence for his counterclaim when the judge asks for it. The judge asks a few more questions and announces that he'll review the evidence and will get the decision in the mail. A couple weeks later, I get the judgment saying I'm owed $650. Shitty landlord gets nothing. Well damn, no treble damages for me. However, it's just my luck that the shitty landlord is a piece of shit that won't accept defeat. He files an appeal for who knows what. It's granted. Redo trial is scheduled for May. This time I'm 10 times more prepared. Once again I'm sworn in and they connect me to the courtroom speaker. This time I've hashed out a script that I read, making sure to emphasise how often I inform shitty landlord of the law, how often shitty landlord knowingly broke the law, and how I offered so much leniency and so many opportunities to do the right thing. Once again, shitty landlord doesn't prepare anything, but instead rambles on so much that even the judge tells him to get back on track multiple times. Shitty landlord claims I caused water damage and had to replace all the carpets. The judge asks for an invoice or receipt. He has none. Shitty landlord claims I broke the microwave, so the judge reads him the 3 witness statements that all state I didn't break the microwave. Shitty landlord says they're all lying. He still has no evidence whatsoever. At this point, the judge clearly sounds done with his shit and says we'll get to his decision in the mail and the call ends. A couple weeks later, I get the judgment. I'm owed $1,800 and shitty landlord still gets nothing. Well damn, would you look at that. His appeal did not quite work out for him. He goes from owing $650 to owing me $1,800. Being the shithead that he is, he files for a mistrial, claiming I was not sworn in and that I lied in my testimony. Denied. Outside of court, shitty landlord offers a payment plan of $20 a month, which will take 7.5 years to pay back, or otherwise he refuses to pay up. Okay, I see how collecting my money is gonna be. I figure out he banks at BOA by looking up the checks I gave him for rent and seeing where they got cashed. I file for a right of execution that will allow me to perform a bank levy. It's granted, so I prepare a packet for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to go to BOA and take his money. LACSD serves them with the papers and orders BOA to freeze his account. After his allotted time, 30 days, to contest the seizure, LACSD seizes his money, plus 10% APY interest, plus sheriff fees. I finally get the glorious check in the mail. 20 months after moving out, I'll probably frame it. Total, $1,893.91. Hey guys, well that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in again. Hope you enjoyed those stories. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.